human mind is built for survival, not success. It seeks comfort, avoids pain, and defaults to the easiest path. But the truth is, real growth only happens when you push yourself through suffering. If you always choose the easy way out, you'll remain the same, stuck in a cycle of mediocrity. When you voluntarily expose yourself to discomfort, you start to build something that most people lack: mental toughness. It's not about wanting to suffer, but understanding that pain is the price of progress. Every hardship, every setback, and every moment of doubt is an opportunity to strengthen your mind. The weak crumble when things get tough because they've never trained themselves to endure. If you want to master your mind, you must first callous it through suffering. You need to lean into discomfort, not run from it. Your ability to thrive in adversity is what separates you from the average. Every challenge you face is a chance to develop an unbreakable mindset. The problem is that most people never get past the first stage of pain. They quit as soon as it gets difficult, convincing themselves it's not worth it. But pain is necessary because it forces you to evolve. If you push through discomfort long enough, you'll realize that suffering isn't the enemy, it's the key. When your body screams to stop, that's when your mind is truly being tested. The moment you think you've reached your limit, you've barely scratched the surface. Your mind will always tell you to stop before your body actually needs to. That's the trick. It lies to you to keep you safe. But safety is the enemy of greatness. To master your mind, you must become comfortable being uncomfortable. The more you expose yourself to suffering, the more you build resilience. It's not about talent or luck. It's about your willingness to endure. Most people look at suffering as something to be avoided, but that's the wrong mindset. Pain is not your enemy, it's your greatest. If you run from it, you'll always be weak, dependent on comfort and convenience. But if you embrace it, you'll build a level of mental toughness that nothing can break. Every time you push yourself past your perceived limits, you become stronger. That's how you callous your mind, just like your hands toughen up after consistent hard work. No one is born mentally tough. It's developed through relentless exposure to adversity. The problem is people don't want to suffer, so they never grow. They stay soft, looking for shortcuts, wonder why they never get ahead. The answer is simple. They've never trained their minds to handle pressure. If you refuse to embrace suffering, you will never reach your full potential. Mind only grows through discomfort, not ease. Discomfort is the price you pay for strength. And there's no way around it. You cannot cheat this process. If you avoid suffering, you're choosing to remain weak. The hardest moments in life are what shape you, and the people who succeed are the ones who lean into those moments. Think about the times you wanted to quit, but didn't. Those were the moments that defined you. Growth happens when you feel like you have nothing left, but you find a way to keep going. That's what mental toughness is built. If you stop every time you feel discomfort, you'll never achieve anything significant. The mind is like a muscle. It only gets stronger through resistance. The more you expose yourself to hardship, the more capable you become. Suffering is not optional if you want to master your mind. It's required. You either embrace it or you remain stuck. People who achieve greatness are not special. They are simply willing to suffer more than others. They don't look for the easy route. They chase the hard one. The more pain you endure, the more you develop an unstoppable mindset. But most people are wired to quit when things get uncomfortable. They make excuses, justify their weaknesses, and settle for less than they're capable of. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they respond to suffering. Those who quit never realize how strong they actually are. They never push far enough to discover their true potential. But those who keep going despite the pain become something different. They become unbreakable. You don't build an elite mind, by avoiding hardship. You build it by embracing it. The pain you feel today is the strength you'll have tomorrow. Suffering is not just about physical pain, it's about mental resistance. Your mind will always look for a way out when things get hard. It will tell you to quit, take the easy way, to stop pushing. This is where most people fail. They listen to that voice and they give in. But if you train yourself to ignore it and push through, something incredible happens. You realize that your limits were never real. They were just mental barriers. Once you break through those barriers, you'll see that you are capable of far more than you ever believed. The pain that once seemed unbearable becomes manageable. The struggle that once felt impossible becomes routine. This is the process of building an unstoppable mindset. You rewire your brain to accept discomfort as part of the journey. When you do this consistently, you reach a level that few people ever do. It's easy to talk about mental toughness, but it's another thing to actually develop it. This is why most people stay weak. They are not willing to suffer. They say they want to be strong, but they don't want to go through what it takes to get there. Mental toughness isn't something you're born with. It's something you create through relentless effort. If you want to be different, you have to do what most people refuse to do. You have to embrace the pain, not just once, but every single day. You have to seek out challenges and attack them head on. Every moment of suffering is a chance to build yourself into something greater. Most people will never do this, which is why most people will never master their minds. They remain average, controlled by their fears, unwilling to step into discomfort. But that doesn't have to be you. The key to mastering your mind is realizing that your feelings, it don't matter. It doesn't matter if you're tired, if you're unmotivated, or if you don't feel like doing something. Your mind will always try to negotiate with you, but you can't let it win. You have to override that voice and take action regardless of how you feel. The moment you stop letting emotions control you, you become dangerous. Most people are slaves to their feelings, and that's why they fail. They wait until they feel like it, but that feeling never comes. If you only act when you feel good, you'll never accomplish anything meaningful. The mind is designed to keep you comfortable, but comfort is the enemy of growth. You must train yourself to move forward, even when everything in you wants to stop. That's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't. The only way to toughen your mind is through exposure to hardship. There's no book, no podcast, and no motivational speech that can do it for you. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and force yourself to adapt. Growth only happens when you're under pressure. If you always stay within your comfort zone, you'll always stay weak. The strongest minds are built in the fire of adversity, not in the safety of routine. If you want to be different, you have to train differently. You have to welcome the struggle and attack it with everything you have. Most people won't do this because it's painful. They look for shortcuts and easy ways out. But there aren't any. The only way to develop an unbreakable mindset is to suffer and come out stronger. Suffering is the process that separates the weak from the strong. It's not about being gifted or lucky. It's about how much pain you're willing to endure. Those who embrace the struggle, who refuse to quit, who push past their perceived limits, they are the ones who reach greatness. The path to mastering your mind is brutal, and most people won't take it. But for those who do, the rewards are unmatched. It's not just about physical strength, it's about mental domination. When you train yourself to push through pain, you become unstoppable. You don't just survive hardship, you thrive in it. That's what separates those who win from those who lose. Most will never understand this because they've never suffered enough to see the other side. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who execute. People rely on motivation, but motivation is weak. It fades when things get hard, and that's when most people quit. If you want to master your mind, you must develop discipline so strong that it overrides any excuse. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It means waking up early when your body tells you to stay in bed. It means hitting the gym when your mind tells you to rest. It means working when others are relaxing, studying when others are wasting time, and grinding when others are making excuses. Discipline is the foundation of success because it removes choice. When you are disciplined, you don't negotiate with your feelings. You act regardless of how you feel, and that is what makes the difference. People fail because they wait for motivation to push them forward. Motivation is an emotion, and emotions are unreliable. One day you feel inspired, the next day you don't, and that's why so many people live inconsistently. Discipline is different because it doesn't care about how you feel. It's about setting a standard and sticking to it no matter what. When you rely on motivation, you give yourself permission to quit when it disappears. But if you build discipline, quitting is never an option. Discipline means you commit to the process even on the days you feel uninspired. The most successful people are not the most motivated, they are the most disciplined. They show up every single day whether they feel like it or not. They do the work even when it's the last thing they want to do. The problem with most people is that they let their feelings dictate their actions. They say they want success, but the moment they feel tired or unmotivated, they stop. They look for shortcuts and easy ways out, hoping to avoid discomfort. But real growth happens when you push through resistance. Discipline is built when you do something hard over and over again until it becomes automatic. There is no magic formula. The only way to develop discipline is to practice it daily. You don't wait until you feel like it. You act regardless of your mood. When you train yourself to operate this way, your mind becomes bulletproof. You stop looking for excuses and start looking for solutions. You stop relying on temporary emotions and start relying on unwavering habits. There is a reason most people never reach their full potential. It's because they quit when things get uncomfortable. They start something with excitement, but the moment the excitement fades, they stop. They don't understand that success is built through relentless consistency. Discipline means pushing forward even when you don't see immediate results. It means trusting the process and knowing that your work will pay off in the long run. The mind always looks for a way out, but discipline doesn't let it. When you make discipline a priority, you no longer entertain excuses. You wake up early, you put in the work, and you stay locked in no matter how you feel. The difference between winning and losing is the ability to stay committed when motivation is gone. Most people want quick results, but that's not how success works. It's a slow grind, and only the discipline can handle it. They don't just work when they're inspired, they work when they're exhausted. They work when they're bored. They work when there's no sign of progress. This is the mindset that separates the best from the rest. The average person gives up too soon because they expect everything to happen fast. When it doesn't, they convince themselves it's not worth it. But the disciplined person doesn't operate like that. They understand that greatness is built through consistency over time. They don't care about short-term rewards. They're locked in for the long haul. You know that the real victory comes from showing up day after day, even when they don't feel like it. Discipline means sacrificing comfort for progress. It means giving up temporary pleasure for long-term success. Most people don't want to do this because it's hard. They want to stay comfortable, but comfort is the enemy of growth. When you are disciplined, you don't allow yourself to stay the same. You constantly push yourself to be better, even when it hurts. This is why discipline is rare, because most people are not willing to suffer for what they want. They let distractions control them, and they never commit fully. But those who are truly disciplined don't let anything break their focus. They don't waste time on things that don't matter. They are locked in, fully committed, and willing to endure whatever it takes. If you want to develop real discipline, you have to start small and build up. You can't just expect to wake up one day and have an unshakable mindset. It takes daily effort. Start by setting non-negotiable habits. Wake up at the same time every day, no matter how you feel. Stick to your schedule, no matter how inconvenient it is. Push yourself beyond what's comfortable, even when no one is watching. The more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes. It's like a muscle. The more you train it, the more powerful it gets. Over time, discipline stops feeling like a struggle and starts becoming second nature. You don't even think about it anymore. You just do it. This is how true mastery is built. Most people think discipline is about punishment, but it's really about freedom. When you are disciplined, you are in control of your life. You don't waste time on distractions, and you don't let emotions dictate your decisions. You become unstoppable because you know how to take action no matter what. Discipline allows you to achieve things that others only dream about. It separates the weak from the strong, the successful from the unsuccessful. It's the one thing that guarantees progress, no matter what your goal is. The reason most people stay stuck is that they refuse to build discipline. They keep waiting for motivation, but motivation never lasts. If you want to win, you have to create a system that forces you to take action every single day. Your mind will always look for the easy way out. It will tell you to take a break, to skip a workout, to relax. But discipline is what keeps you moving forward. It's what gets you up when you're tired and keeps you going when you want to quit. The hardest part is showing up, but once you do, everything else becomes easier. The problem is that most people never take that first step. They overthink, they make excuses, and they never build momentum. But if you develop the habit of taking action, regardless of how you feel, you become unstoppable. Discipline is about training yourself to operate at a high level, no matter what's happening. Weakness is not something you are born with. It's something you allow to exist. Every person has weaknesses, but most people choose to ignore them instead of facing them head on. They make excuses, blame their circumstances, and accept their limitations as permanent. But the truth is, your weaknesses are not fixed. They are simply areas that have not been tested enough. If you avoid them, they will control you. But if you attack them relentlessly, they will become your greatest strengths. The difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck is their willingness to confront what they fear. Most people run from their insecurities, hoping they will disappear. But problems don't disappear by avoiding them, they only grow stronger. The only way to overcome a weakness is to face it, suffer through it, and come out on the other side stronger than before. Your weaknesses are nothing more than untapped potential. The things you struggle with now are the very things that will define your growth. The reason they feel like weaknesses is because you haven't developed the strength to handle them yet. But that can change. The only thing standing between you and improvement is the amount of work you are willing to put in. People who achieve greatness do not do so because they were born gifted. They do so because they identified their weaknesses and turned them into weapons. They refused to accept limitations and instead chose to attack their flaws until they became strengths. The process is painful, but that pain is necessary. Growth does not come from comfort. It comes from struggle, from pushing yourself beyond what you think you are capable of, and from refusing to back down when things get difficult. There is a reason most people never reach their full potential. It's not because they lack talent or intelligence. It's because they are too afraid to address their flaw. They would rather stay comfortable in their strengths than struggle through their weaknesses. But strength means nothing if you let your weaknesses hold you back. The greatest people in the world did not succeed because they only focused on what they were good at. They succeeded because they attacked what they were bad at. They put themselves in difficult situations on purpose. They exposed themselves to failure over and over again until failure became impossible. They embraced their weaknesses because they understood that those weaknesses were opportunities for growth. Instead of running from discomfort, they ran toward it. That is what separates the strong from the weak. The only way to turn your weaknesses into weapons is to expose them. You cannot fix what you refuse to acknowledge. If you are afraid of something, you must force yourself to confront it. If you are bad at something, you must do it over and over again until it no longer limits you. Weakness is like rust. It spreads and destroys everything if you ignore it. But if you attack it with intensity, it disappears. The process will be brutal, and there will be moments when you want to quit. Your mind will tell you that you are not good enough, that it's too hard, that it's not worth it. But that is where the real battle is fought. If you give in to those thoughts, you will stay weak. If you push through them, you will come out stronger. The choice is yours. Most people don't realize how much potential they have because they never push themselves hard enough to find out. They stop as soon as something gets difficult. They accept failure instead of learning from it. They allow their weaknesses to define them instead of challenging them. But the people who succeed are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who went through hell and kept going. They understood that every struggle was a lesson and every weakness was an opportunity. They embraced discomfort because they knew it was the only path to greatness. The process of overcoming weakness is not quick and it is not easy. It takes time, patience, and relentless effort. But the reward is worth it. Because once you turn your weaknesses into strengths, nothing can stop you. Fear is the biggest reason people never improve. They fear failure, rejection, pain, and discomfort. But fear is just an illusion. It only has power if you give it power. The moment you stop letting fear control you, you take back control of your life. Fear of weakness is what keeps people stuck, but facing that fear is what sets people free. When you push yourself into situations that scare you, you realize that fear is nothing more than a mental barrier. You start to understand that the things you once thought were impossible are actually within reach. You just have to be willing to suffer for them. Growth does not happen by accident. It happens when you make the choice to face what scares you and fight through it until you come out stronger. Your mind is the biggest obstacle between you and your potential. It will always tell you to take the easy way out. It will convince you that you are not strong enough, smart enough, or talented enough. But that voice is a liar. The only way to silence it is to prove it wrong through action. Every time you push through discomfort, that voice gets weaker. Every time you face a fear head on, the voice loses power. And eventually it disappears completely. That is how you master your weaknesses. You stop listening to the excuses and you start doing the work. You stop allowing fear to dictate your actions and you start taking control. The process is painful, but pain is the price of progress. If you are not willing to suffer, you are not willing to succeed. Most people fail because they want change without struggle. They want to be strong without suffering. But that is not how growth works. Strength is built through pain, through failure, through relentless effort. You cannot avoid the hard work and expect to improve. If you truly want to turn your weaknesses into weapons, you must commit to the process fully. That means doing things that make you uncomfortable every single day. It means exposing yourself to failure, knowing that failure is the best teacher. It means embracing the struggle, knowing that struggle is where true strength is built. The people who succeed are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who went through hell and refused to quit. They are the ones who understood that suffering was the only way forward. Your weaknesses were only weaknesses if you allow them to be. Every flaw, every insecurity, every limitation can be transformed. But you have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to push yourself into situations where you will fail, struggle, and suffer. You have to be willing to endure the discomfort of growth. Most people never do this because they are too afraid. They choose comfort over progress, and as a result, they stay the same. But for those who are willing to embrace the struggle, the rewards are limitless. Because once you overcome your weaknesses, nothing can stop you. You become someone who is not afraid of failure, not afraid of discomfort, and not afraid of pushing beyond limits. That is what it takes to win. Every weakness is an opportunity. Every struggle is a lesson. Every failure is a step forward. But most people will never see it that way because they are not willing to go through the pain. They would rather stay comfortable, even if it means staying weak. But those who truly want to succeed know that the only way to grow is to push through suffering. They know that pain is temporary, but strength lasts forever. They do not run from their weaknesses. They attack them until they become strengths. They refuse to be controlled by fear, excuses, or self-doubt. They understand that the only way to truly master themselves is to embrace their struggles and use them as fuel. This is how real strength is built. Not through ease, but through relentless, unbreakable effort. Pain is the most powerful teacher, but most people run from it. They avoid struggle, hoping for an easier path, but nothing great is built without suffering. Growth comes from pushing through pain, from enduring when your mind tells you to stop. When you embrace pain instead of resisting it, you unlock a level of strength you never knew existed. Pain forces you to adapt, to become tougher, to push past your limits. Every time you endure, you become stronger. Every time you suffer and keep going, you build a mind that cannot be broken. Most people quit the moment pain arises because they don't understand its purpose. Pain is not there to destroy you, it's there to mold you into something greater. It exposes your weaknesses, and if you face them, you come out sharper, stronger, and more resilient. Pain is the ultimate test of how badly you want something. Anyone can say they want success, but only a few are willing to suffer for it. The moment things get hard, most people fold. They make excuses, convincing themselves they weren't meant for greatness. But those who push through pain are the ones who achieve what others only dream about. Pain separates the weak from the strong, the committed from the ones who are only interested. Every time you push through discomfort, you build mental toughness. You train yourself to operate at a higher level. You stop looking for shortcuts and start embracing the grind. The greatest people in the world are not the most talented. They are the ones who refuse to quit, no matter how much pain they feel. Most people misunderstand pain. They see it as a sign to stop, as proof that they are not capable. But pain is actually proof that you are growing. The moment you feel pain, you know you are pushing past your old limits. The body and mind will always resist growth because growth is uncomfortable. But that discomfort is necessary. Without it, you stay the same. If you avoid pain, you avoid progress. The people who succeed are not the ones who never feel pain. They are the ones who have learned to use it as fuel. Instead of letting it break them, they let it drive them. They see pain as a sign that they are on the right path, not as a reason to quit. Pain is what forces you to evolve. If everything was easy, you would never grow. You would never develop the strength, endurance, or mindset needed to succeed. Pain is what teaches you discipline, patience, and resilience. Every struggle you face is preparing you for something greater. The problem is that most people don't have the patience to endure long enough to see the reward. They want results without suffering. They want success without struggle. But that's not how the world works. If you are not willing to suffer for what you want, you don't deserve it. Pain is the price you must pay. The question is, are you willing to endure it? Or will you take the easy way out like everyone else? Your ability to handle pain will determine your success. Life is going to throw challenges at you, and most people let those challenges break them. They complain, they quit, and they never reach their potential. But those who refuse to be controlled by pain become unstoppable. They take every struggle and use it as fuel. They don't ask for an easier path. They ask for the strength to endure the hard one. That is the difference between those who win and those who lose. The losers let pain defeat them. The winners take that pain and turn it into power. They use every failure, every setback, and every hardship as motivation to push harder. Most people have never truly tested their limits because they always stop when things get hard. They have no idea how strong they could be because they have never suffered long enough to find out. Pain is what reveals your true potential. When you think you have nothing left, you actually have more. But you will never know that if you quit too soon. Pain is not the enemy, your weakness is. Your fear of discomfort is what holds you back. If you can train your mind to push through pain instead of retreating, you will reach levels that most people will never touch. The reason champions exist is because they do what the average person refuses to do. They endure when others quit. Pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. Most people don't realize that the suffering they are avoiding is the very thing that will make them stronger. They would rather stay comfortable and weak than endure hardship and grow. But the pain of discipline is always better than the pain of regret. When you look back on your life, you will either be proud that you endured or ashamed that you quit. You will either have built a mind that is unbreakable or you will have given in to weakness. The choice is yours. But if you want to be great, you cannot run from pain. You have to chase it, embrace it, and use it to sharpen yourself. That is the only way to win. The greatest people in history all went through extreme suffering. They were not handed success. They fought for it, bled for it, and endured more pain than most people could imagine. That is why they stand above the rest. They refuse to let hardship break them. They took every loss, every struggle, and every failure and turned it into something greater. They understood that suffering was not something to fear, it was something to embrace. They welcomed pain because they knew it was the key to growth. This is why the strongest people in the world are not the ones who have had it easy. They are the ones who have suffered the most but refuse to let it stop them. If you want to reach the highest levels, you have to make peace with pain. You have to stop looking at it as a punishment and start seeing it as an opportunity. Pain is the thing that will separate you from the rest. It will break the weak and strengthen the strong. Every time you feel discomfort, you have a choice. You can give up or you can push forward. Most people take the easy way out, and that is why they never change. But those who embrace pain and use it to grow become unstoppable. They become the ones who refuse to quit, the ones who rise above the rest, the ones who achieve what others only dream about. Pain is not your enemy, it is your greatest ally. It's a thing that will take you from average to extraordinary if you have the courage to face it. Every time